Welcome to the Shang Dynasty, the Bronze Age of China. And when I say metal, I mean it literally. These guys were hardcore. They invented riding, chariots, and being absolutely terrifying. They had severe OCD. They wouldn't do anything without asking the ghosts first. They wrote questions on turtle shells, burned them, and read the crack. Will it rain? Crack, no. Can I eat this? Crack, you will die. Their main god was Shang Di. And he was hangry all the time. He didn't want fruit or incense. He wanted something with a little more protein, human sacrifice. Yeah, that was a daily routine. Thousands of people were buried in pits to serve the dead kings. It was like a loyalty program, but the reward was being buried alive. To cook all these offerings, they made giant bronze pots called ding. They are masterpieces of art. Just don't ask what's inside the soup. Trust me, you don't want to know. Enter King Zhou. History often paints him as a fat slob, but young Zhou, he was a unit. Legend says he could hunt tigers with his bare hands and hold up a collapsing roof while finishing his drink. He was a conqueror. He crushed the eastern tribes and expanded the map. He was basically the MVP of the Shang Dynasty. But then he got bored. In the legends, his downfall started because he was too thirsty. He visited the temple of goddess Nuwa, saw her statue, and wrote a dirty poem on the wall. Dude, that's the mother of humanity. Have some respect. Nuwa was not amused. She didn't strike him with lightning. That's too easy. She decided to destroy his kingdom from the inside. She sent a secret agent, a nine-tailed fox demon. The fox took the form of a woman named Daji. She was gorgeous, charming, and pure evil. Zhou took one look at her and his brain turned to mush. The horror movie was about to become a party movie. Zhou stopped ruling and started partying, he ordered a pool of wine, literally, a giant swimming pool filled with expensive alcohol. It was the ultimate open bar, but you had to swim in it. Hygiene was not a priority. And for snacks, the forest of meat. Trees draped with roasted meats. You could just walk up to a tree and eat a steak. It was a carnivore's dream and a vegan's nightmare, but the party games were twisted. Daji invented the cannon-burning punishment. They greased a hot copper cylinder and made people walk on it. If you slipped, you fell into the fire. They watched this like it was reality TV. People complained, obviously, but Zhou had a solution. He killed them. He invented the snake pit. If you criticized his playlist or his wine choice, you became snake food. His own uncle Bi Gan tried to talk sense into him. Zhou said, I heard a saint's heart has 7 holes. Let's check. He literally dug his uncle's heart out to count the holes. Curiosity killed the uncle. Meanwhile, in the West, there was a guy named Ji Chang. He was a nerd. He loved math and fortune telling. He was so popular that King Zhou got jealous and threw him in jail. While in prison, instead of crying, he wrote a book. The I Ching, basically he invented binary code 3,000 years before computers. He calculated that the Shang Dynasty was doomed. His son Bo Yikao came to bail him out. He was handsome and played music. Daji tried to slide into his DMs, but he rejected her. Big mistake. You don't reject the demon queen. To test Ji Chang's divination skills, Zhou killed the son, made him into, let's call them meat pies, and fed them to the father. If he's a saint, he won't eat his own son. Spoiler, he ate it to survive. Because he ate the pies, Zhou thought he was just a stupid old man and released him. Legend says Ji Chang later vomited up the meat and it turned into rabbits. Yeah, Chinese mythology is wild. I Chang got back home, but he had a problem. He wanted revenge on King Zhou, but he was just a fortune teller. He needed a general, a strategist, a mastermind. Enter Jiang Ziya. He was 72 years old. His resume was tragic. He failed at selling flour, failed at selling meat, and his wife divorced him because he was broke. He was a total loser. So he did what any unemployed 72-year-old would do. He went fishing, but he used a straight needle, no bait, and the hook was 3 feet above the water. The fish were literally laughing at him. Ji Chang walked by and asked, "Are you crazy?" Jiang Ziya replied, "The fish isn't the target. The bait is for the willing." Translation, I'm waiting for a rich guy like you to hire me. Ji Chang was impressed. He hired him instantly. Legend says Ji Chang pulled Jiang's cart for 800 steps before collapsing. Jiang said, "Thanks for the ride. Your dynasty will last 800 years. 1 year for every step." Math is magic. Jiang Ziya didn't waste time. He started a training montage. He took a bunch of farmers who only knew how to grow cabbages and turned them into a disciplined war machine. But time ran out for Ji Chang. On his deathbed, he handed the mission to his son, King Wu. His last words were basically, "Delete the Shang Dynasty, also don't forget to feed the rabbits." King Wu launched the attack. As they crossed the river, a white fish jumped into the boat. Jiang Ziya yelled, "It's a sign from the gods, we will win!" King Wu just thought, sweet free dinner. They arrived at Muye. The odds looked bad. Zhou had 45,000 troops. Shang had 700,000. It was like a high school football team fighting the entire NFL. But King Zhou wasn't worried. He was drunk. He said, "I have the mandate of heaven. They can't touch me." He armed his 700,000 slaves and told them to go fight. What could possibly go wrong? The battle began. Zhou ordered his 700,000 conscripts to attack, but he forgot a tiny detail. These people hated him. Giving weapons to people who hate you, not a smart move. Instead of fighting the Zhou army, the troops turned around, literally. They pointed their spears at King Zhou. It was the biggest Uno reverse card in military history. The Shang army collapsed instantly. They actually guided the Zhou army into the city. "Right this way, sir. The tyrant is over there." It wasn't a battle. It was a parade. Realizing he lost, King Zhou retreated to his fancy tower, the Deer Terrace. He didn't surrender, oh no. He put on his best jade suit and all his jewelry. If he was going out with style. He set the palace on fire and ended his own reign. A dramatic end for a dramatic king. He basically cosplayed as a very expensive firework. Next up, Daji. She was captured, but there was a problem. She was so charismatic that the executioners couldn't swing the axe. They just stood there blushing like schoolboys. Jiang Ziya had to step in. He said, "Fanboys." Then he used his monster revealing mirror to show her true form. "Look, she's a fox, you fools." The spell broke. Game over. The nine-tailed fox was sent back to the lobby. The party was officially over. What about all the characters who didn't make it? Jiang Ziya pulled out a scroll called the Investiture of the Gods. He gave everyone a job in heaven. Even King Zhou got a job. It was the ultimate celestial unemployment benefits program. The war was won. The Shang was gone. The Zhou dynasty began. But looking at the massive map, King Wu realized, wait, how am I supposed to manage all this land without internet? King Wu had a PR problem. In ancient China, kings were like God. You can't just remove a king. People asked, why did you revolt? He needed a really good excuse. So his brother, the Duke of Zhou, invented the mandate of heaven. The logic was simple. We didn't want to revolt. Heaven made us do it because the last guy was naughty. Genius marketing. Next problem, the land was too big. No phones, no Zoom calls. How do you rule it? He decided to use feudalism. Basically, he sliced the country like a pizza and gave the slices to his relatives. It was the ultimate pyramid scheme. The king owns everything. The lords pay rent to the king. The peasants do all the work. It worked perfectly, as long as everyone was related. At first, it was great. Hey, uncle, here is your kingdom. Thanks, nephew. It was one big happy family running the world. Peace achieved, but there was a flaw. After 300 years, the family got too big. Cousins became distant cousins became strangers. Loyalty faded. It became a game of new phone who dis. Then came King Yu. He had a girlfriend Bao Si who never smiled. To impress her, he lit the emergency war beacon. The armies rushed to save him only to find the king laughing. He was the original "it's just a prank, bro" YouTuber, but then real bad guys showed up. The nomads attacked. King Yu lit the fires again. He screamed for help, but the lords thought, "Nice try, idiot," and stayed home. The king was eliminated. The capital fell. The Zhou dynasty didn't end, but it broke. The map shattered into tiny pieces. The lords stopped paying rent and started fighting each other. The family reunion was officially over. Welcome to the era of chaos. 500 years of non-stop battle. But hey, at least it gave us Sun Tzu and the art of war. But that is a story for another day. Thanks for watching.